Tisztelt Hölgyeim és Uraim, kedves vendégeink! Én is nagyon sok szeretettel köszöntöm Önöket itt a konferenciánk második napjának második panelbeszélgetésén. Ez a panelbeszélgetés a mesterséges intelligencia témájáról fog szólni, és minden egyébről, ami ehhez tartozik. Technológiai fejlődésről, emberi minőségről, gazdasági lehetőségekről, biztonsági veszélyekről, kockázatokról. Ha kinyitnak egy közéleti folyóiratot, vagy megnyitnak egy online hírportált, garantálom Önöknek, hogy a vezető hírek között legalább egy olyat találnak majd, amelyik a mesterséges intelligencia témakörével foglalkozik. Ez a téma, ez a problémakör mára kitört a technológiai rovatoknak a fogságából, és elfoglalta az összes hírszájt, az összes folyóirat, összes rovatát. Mesterséges intelligenciáról olvasunk a filmkritika rovatban, mesterséges intelligenciáról olvasunk a belpolitika rovatban, és ugyanerről olvasunk az amerikai választás, a geopolitika, a nemzetközi kapcsolatok terén is, nap mint nap. Mesterséges intelligenciáról beszélt egészen élete utolsó napjaiig korunk egyik legnagyobb tudós zsenie, Stephen Hawking, aki nemrég hunyt el. Mesterséges intelligenciával foglalkozik állandóan szinte Elon Musk, korunk kirakat innovátora, a vasember, és mesterséges intelligencia témában szólalt meg nemrég Henry Kissinger is, az élő legenda, amerikai elnökök külpolitikai főtanácsadója, volt amerikai külügyminiszter, aki a héten közölt véleménycikkében arra hívta fel az Egyesült Államok kormányát, hogy hozzon létre egy elnöki tanácsot, amelyik kifejezetten a mesterséges intelligenciával kapcsolatos kérdésekkel foglalkozik. De újdonságnak tekinthetjük-e azt, amit most a mesterséges intelligencia kapcsán látunk magunk körül? Újdonság-e ez a hype, ez a boom? Aligha. Mint olyan sok más dolog a történelemben, ennek is van előképe. Volt már egy hasonló időszak, nem is egy, de a legutóbb a 80-as évek elején, 1987-ig bezárólag, szintén ha felütünk egy amerikai szakfolyóiratot, vagy akár a New York Times vagy Washington Postot abból az időből, azt fogjuk tapasztalni, hogy a 80-as években ugyanezeket a vitákat, ugyanezeket a kérdéseket már szétcincelták egyszer, hiszen akkor is volt egy mesterséges intelligencia boom a világban. Az a mesterséges intelligencia boom nem volt azonos a mostanival. Azzal foglalkozott, hogy hogyan hozhatók létre olyan gépek, melyekbe az ember által már megalkotott problémák megoldási módszerek gyakorlatilag beültethetők, szakértelmet próbáltunk gépekbe ültetni, mely szakértelem valamilyen gondolkodással analóg módon képes problémákat megválaszolni az ember helyett. Ennek a boomnak 1987-re nagyjából a felfokozott elvárások és az elvárásoknak megfelelni nem tudás miatt, a finanszírozók türelmének elfogyása miatt vége szakadt. Úgy is hívták ezt, hogy mesterséges intelligencia apokalipszis. Mesterséges intelligencia tél az, ami a mesterséges intelligencia boom után történt. Hölgyeim és uraim, ma egészen más minőségben foglalkozunk mesterséges intelligenciával. Most nem tudást akarunk a gépeknek adni, hanem olyan gépeket, algoritmusokat hozunk létre, amelyek magukat képesek felvértezni tudással, mégpedig úgy, hogy a kiadott feladat vagy egy kiadott instrukció mentén 1000 millió, milliárd számra futtatnak le különböző tanulási mechanizmusokat, melynek során felvértezik magukat a tudással. A 80-as években a mesterséges intelligencia boom olyannyira kiterjedt a populáris kultúrára is, hogy az egyik legsikeresebb popkultúrában legsikeresebb magyar személy, Andrew G. Vajna is, az egyik zászlóshajó filmjét, ugye a Terminátor szagának a második részét, pontosan egy ilyen témában alkotta meg. Ez egyik legnagyobb magyar filmes siker, kereskedelmi filmes siker, amit eddig láttunk. Tehát ennyire áthatotta a 80-as éveket a mesterséges intelligencia, és azt gondolom, hogy most már a mi korunkat is pontosan ennyire áthatja. Hölgyeim és uraim, emberek vagyunk, technológiát alkotunk, és közben a technológia is nagyon erősen formál minket. Az életünk minden területét. A gazdaságban vagy a gyógyászatban szinte felfoghatatlan, korlátlan lehetőségek nyílnak ki most előttünk a mesterséges intelligenciának köszönhetően. De azért érdemes feltenni a kérdést, hogy ezekkel a lehetőségekkel, miközben élünk, képesek leszünk-e embernek maradni a végén. Hiszen mégiscsak ez a lényeg. És azt se felejtjék, kérem, hogy miközben erről beszélek az önök megtisztelő társaságában, J.K. Rowling, méltán híres író, a Harry Potter sorozat szerzője szavaival élve, ennek a kastélynak a falait folyamatosan ezekben a percekben is sötét erők ostromolják. Vagyis, miközben erről beszélünk, körülöttünk, a láthatatlan szférában folyamatosan kiberháború dúl, amiről senki nem tud felmentést szerezni. Kérem, meghívott vendégeimmel erről és sok más témáról beszélgetünk majd a következő panelben. Színpadra szólítom elsőként Lengyelországból érkezett vendégemet, aki a CYBERSEC HUB ügyvezető igazgatója, a krakói Kosciuszko Intézet kutatója és a European Cybersecurity Journal főszerkesztője. Hölgyeim és uraim, köszöntsék Robert Siudakot! Panelbeszélgetésünk második résztvevője Észtországból érkezett hozzánk. Anna Piperal, az e-Estonia Showroom ügyvezető igazgatója, Észtország méltán világhírű digitális kormányzati programjának egyik vezető arca. Anna, köszöntünk Budapesten! Hölgyeim és uraim, panelbeszélgetésünk harmadik résztvevőjét talán ebben a körben be sem kellene mutatnom, azért mégis megteszem. Köszöntsék nagy szeretettel a Center for European Policy Analysis washingtoni think tank ügyvezető alelnökét, Magyarország volt washingtoni nagykövetét, Orbán Viktor miniszterelnök volt kül- és biztonságpolitikai főtanácsadóját, Szemerkényi Réka nagykövetasszonyt. És végül, de nem utolsó sorban, még az utolsó vendégem előtt konferálnám be negyedik vendégünket, Artur Bobovnický urat, aki a Szlovák Innovációs és Energetikai Ügynökség elemzésért, programokért és nemzetközi együttműködésért felelős igazgatója, aki komoly tapasztalattal rendelkezik abban, hogyan tudunk itt Közép-Európában nagy, jelentős, innovatív technológiai cégeket és tudást bevonzani. Artur Bobovnický, hölgyeim és uraim! És végül, hogy panelbeszélgetésünk teljes legyen, elhoztunk önöknek Izraelből egy igazi kiberháborús veteránt, nem viccelek, Avraham Cohen ezredes úr, 30 évet szolgált az izraeli védelmi erők kötelékében, most már saját vállalatát vezeti, amely nem véletlenül National Security Research Group névre hallgat és ilyen területen nyújt szolgáltatásokat. Hölgyeim és uraim, Avraham Cohen ezredes. Hölgyeim és uraim, a panelbeszélgetés formája a következőképpen zajlik majd. Az első körben 7 perces időkeretben minden vendégem önállóan fejti majd ki a témáról, erről a kérdéskörről a véleményét, majd pedig egymásra is reflektálva, illetve kérdésekkel is foglalkozva reméljük, hogy igazi beszélgetés alakul ki ebben a körben. Köszöntök még egyszer mindenkit, és vágjunk is bele. Először Robert Siudakot kérem, hogy tartsa meg bevezető gondolatait.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this topic, first and foremost. Is artificial intelligence our future? In the first moment, I thought that the answer is straightforward. No, it isn't, because it's already our presence. To realize it, I encourage all of you to think about the last 2 years. What changed in your life? What changed in your neighborhoods, firms, institutions? What changed in the functioning of our societies since 2016? Think about yourself in 2016. In terms of digital footprint, probably all of us already had a smartphone, laptop, television, used the internet a few hours a day. So you might think that not much have changed, but it did. I will argue that last 2 years or so, we witnessed the beginning of revolution. Currently, we're in the middle of it, and artificial intelligence is the key component which will enable us together to push this transformative change forward. The name of the revolution is digital data revolution. So the really important change that is happening in this time is not happening in the smartphone or in the 2K, 4K change. It's happening under this plastic or aluminum coverage of dozens of commodities we use daily. We don't anymore possess a car. In fact, we are buying computers which can help us to drive. We are buying computers which keep our food refrigerated, computers which wash our clothes. More importantly, all of those computers process the same kind of data, digital data. All are connected to the internet, and all, thanks to that, all can send and receive those data. There is now 7.6 billion people in the world. At the same time, only by moderate estimates, there is 11 billion internet-connected devices in the world. 2016, which I mentioned in the beginning, was the first year when the number of those devices exceeded the number of living people. And that's just the beginning. In the next 2 years, the number will double up to more than 20 billion in 2020. To show you the scale, 4 babies are born in the world every second. During the same second, 90 new devices is connected to the internet. This means that by the end of my speech, 54,000 new devices will be pumping the data into internet. In fact, 90% of all digital data ever created was created in the last 2 years. Okay, we have a lot of data, tons of data, zettabytes. But can we as humans make sense of it? Can we use it for our own purposes? Ladies and gentlemen, here the artificial intelligence is entering the stage. To be able to make sense of this data, to generate value from it for our human perspective, to make base our decision on this data, we need digital tools. Machine learning algorithms, deep learning systems, or computer vision programs, all of this fancy word, they help us to harvest these tons of data that we create every second. The scale of this technology, of course, makes them hugely influential. Vladimir Putin notes that whoever will lead in AI will rule the world. Tesla founder Elon Musk thinks that it could even trigger the Third World War. I personally believe that AI will reshape our society, economy, especially our labor market, the way automobiles did in the beginning of the 20th century. There are numerous crossover characteristics between those automobiles and today's AI. Starting from the beginning, in every history, there is this need for crossing the Rubicon. Bertha Benz, Carl Benz's wife, in August 1888, by taking their 2 sons, Eugen and Richard, on the first long-distance journey from Mannheim to Pförnitz in Germany, did this first step. This 106 kilometers trip was possible thanks to her husband's invention, automobile. This invention itself was possible due to the accessibility of new type of fuel, oil. Artificial intelligence is already on the other brink of Rubicon. During the last 2 years, we witnessed many digital Mannheim to Pförnitz journeys. AI can beat professional players in chess, Go, Jeopardy, and other games, learning rules from the scratch in a few hours. Best computer vision systems are on average better than we human in object detections. And when it comes to speech recognition, AI already match up human performance in 2017. You may wonder where you can meet those technologies during your daily activities. Maybe use virtual assistants such as Siri or Alexa, with some of them reaching IQ of 4 or 5 year old child. Maybe you watch Netflix, or listen to Spotify or buy at Amazon, where AI algorithms helps to profile the preferences. However you use AI support, all of this is possible thanks to the availability of 21st century new fuel, this digital data. It took years before Benz single three-wheel automobile would trigger a worldwide commuting revolution. At that point in 1888, there was no infrastructure for cars, there was no industry to build those cars, and there was no customers to buy them. There was a need for the whole structural change and to create an ecosystem that will trigger the revolutionary influence of this invention. And make no mistake, artificial intelligence is also not a single silver bullet that we can apply to face all these challenges we speak today. It must be a part of wider socio-technological assemblage we will have to build in the next coming years. AI, in order to meet our expectations, will need to not only be technological advanced, but also we have to create public regulations, industrial standards, and pro-innovative policies. And how revolutionary this change might be in the end. To give you a glimpse of that, let me recall one specific summit that happened in the end of 19th century. In 1898, 10 years after this journey from Mannheim to Phoenix, New York hosted the first international urban planning conference. The guys from all around the globe met to discuss one single issue that faced the cities. The problem was connected with mass transportation, and it was the amount of poor horses were living on the streets of Vienna, Budapest, Paris, every city. The manure issue had become one of the most challenging due to the rapid growth of cities. One article in Times of London estimated that no later in 50 years, remember, dunk level on the street will rise up 2.5 meters. The summit was planned for 10 days, but after 3 days of unsuccessful debates, the discussants, frustrated of course, decided that there is no solution, cities are doomed, and they went home. Keep in mind that Bertha Benz already 10 years earlier arrived successfully to Phoenix, but it took roughly 2 more decades to change the urban landscape by turning over the table, in fact. In the coming years, AI will change the way we work, we commute, we pay, we heal ourselves. Self-learning algorithms may significantly, of course, help us to raise the level of overall wealth, as well as to reduce harmful environmental effects. But, there is always but. AI-powered solutions, of course, are efficient, profitable, and scalable, but at the recent fatal accident caused by Uber vehicle, and even the Cambridge Analytica problem showed us, they also bring challenges that we have to address. With great power come great responsibility, and this responsibility stays in the hands of decision makers and industrial leaders. In the end, ladies and gentlemen, AI is what we make of it. Thank you very much.
Köszönöm szépen, Robert, bravo, nagyon köszönjük a bevezető gondolatokat, és továbbadnám a lehetőséget Anna Piperalnak, hogy ossza meg saját gondolatait velünk ebben a témában.
Ladies and gentlemen, having worked with e-governance and technology adoption topics for the last 7 years in Estonia, we really have to ask ourselves, if artificial intelligence is our future, then are we ready for this future? What do we have today? Considering Estonian geopolitical location, lack of resources, 1.3 million of people, our country was focused on efficiency, automation, internet and technology use much earlier than most of European countries. Basically, from establishing our independence after the Soviet times, we had 27 years to build up the digital society and e-services in a way that we have it today. And Estonia's leading ratings in not only public services in Europe and cybersecurity, in entrepreneurship, climate globally, and tax competitiveness. We were able to convince 98% of people to start using digital identity issued by the government and provide them 99% of state services online already today, allowing them with digital ID control how their data is used in real time online. So basically, only marriage, divorce, or selling your house is not possible in Estonia digitally today. As for the data exchange, we also solved that issue with an X-Road, a system that allows distributed access to data, taking away the fear of Big Brother as data is not stored centrally, that is enabling all the digital services and interconnects not only government institutions, but over 52,000 private sector companies. This system saves alone our governments and nation around 800 years of time annually of manpower and working hours. Digital signature alone which is legal in Europe, saves us 2% of GDP, which is similar to our defense budget. And considering 1% we spend for investments in the e-governance field, we can spend twice as more. We have built the e-tax system, so people are declaring taxes in 3 minutes from 2001 and are considered the best tax collectors because we use technology. It's only 40 euro cents for 100 euros of taxes that we are collecting. And one of the experimentation e-residency program that we have launched around 3 years ago today has become as the main competitiveness tool and a growth plan for our economy. E-residency is a special identification form that we issue to international business people so they can establish a company, run a company, and manage a company totally location independently. So any international business person from anywhere in the world can have a EU-based company and be legal and contribute to our economy. For Estonia, this means actually great numbers. The Deloitte research with prognosis to 2025 says that the direct income to our economy is estimated around 340 million, and the socio-economic impact that would be indirect from the program itself sums up to 1.7 billion euros. This is 8% or more of our GDP. This is our growth plan. But we're far from finished and being finished, because our digital dreams and government programs have zero bureaucracy idea in mind. So with the reuse of data and data exchange, automatization, use of technology, we want to build a new generation of invisible services, eliminating the process for the citizen. So not only AI is interesting from that perspective as a tool to reduce the costs and cost reduction strategy, but the value creation and generation strategy, as it can help governments not only to be more trusted and more relevant in today's economy and more efficient, but also make smarter decisions. Once having legitimized self-driving vehicles and robotics last year, this year government formed a working group to discuss the ethical use and creating a legislation on artificial intelligence, because we really think not only for regulating the private sector, this is important, but also for the internal use within our government. So, of course, there are enormous opportunities how AI can be used for e-governance and better governance overall. Not only reducing resources, reducing or replacing techniques like call centers or validation of eligibility for some services or controlling energy consumption and others, but in an augmented way, artificial intelligence can actually help us make much better and smarter decisions, to process global knowledge and all the latest research, to make really something beyond human capacity today for better governance, for better policy making, for better financial planning, and just for better healthcare overall, for example. So I personally believe humans will never be taken away from this equation, so we shouldn't be afraid too much. And from Estonian perspective, having good internet access, trustworthy digital data in our databases, having zero bureaucracy in our plans, having a blockchain technology that serves us to keep the integrity of our data from 2012, we actually are really excited to understand and embrace this new technology and figure out together a way to employ it for the benefit and the competitiveness of our country. And I personally believe governments really has to be on top of the game, not only to regulate the private sector for this purpose and give them a better, like in the car industry, someone had to build the roads, someone had to build the regulations and teach people how to drive, and this is how we use the car. But they have to do this and embrace AI for themselves as well in order to be trusted, in order to be efficient, and most importantly, in order to be relevant in the modern world. Thank you.
Köszönjük szépen, Anna, és haladunk tovább. Nagykövet asszony, öné a szó, kérem.
Nagyon köszönöm a meghívást, és nagyon sok örömmel szeretnék gratulálni a szervezőknek ezért a kiváló rendezvényért. Azt gondolom, hogy nagyon fontos, hogy ezeket a közös ügyeinket és közös kihívásainkat valóban együtt tudjuk megbeszélni, elsősorban a régióban, aztán egy európai és nyilván egy transzatlanti keretben. Ez a transatlanti keret az, amelyet azt gondolom, hogy hosszú távon, különösen a magas stratégiai értékével óvatosan és nagyon támogatóan kell kezeljünk, hiszen pontosan ezeknek a nagy kihívásoknak a kezelésére ad egy nagyon jó lehetőséget. Engedjék meg, hogy a vendégeink iránti tiszteletből angolul folytassam, talán egy kicsit akkor pörgősebb lesz a beszélgetés. The question of artificial intelligence and the way we see this in the challenges that lie ahead of us, I think is one of the most fascinating one. It really opens the whole world into a totally new dimension. And it's an incredible, almost mind-boggling potential that we are seeing in front of our eyes. We have been seeing the tremendous possibilities of the internet and the development of the internet world around us. We have also seen, as a security policy expert myself, I have been taking part of these debates over the years, very much in depth of trying to make sure that the cyber world can be serving us and can be helping us without hurting us. And so I fully understand this, the security dimensions. But with the development, with the advent of the artificial intelligence, what we can see is a whole new era. Some say that it's not far from calling this the next industrial revolution, because it fundamentally changes the future of businesses. We have not seen a change similar to this since the Industrial Revolution. Businesses are going to be run, are going to be competing, are going to be thriving, and be managed in a totally different way based on artificial intelligence. We have a potential to see an incredible amplification of people, products, businesses. It is an unleash of an intelligent, of the concept of the intelligent enterprise. It's the technology that transforms our business, medicine, services, public services, government services. It's a whole range of issues that are going to be fundamentally different, touching on the entire society in every level. So no wonder that the enthusiasts of this revolution are extremely excited about the potential that we can see. The first visible sign of this, I think it's good to recall that was really 1997, I'm sorry, when Deep Blue, if you recall, beat Garry Kasparov in chess. That was like a wow. Since 2000, the development of automobile self-driving, of course, cars, emphasized this development. Then in 2017, another major breakthrough when Google's DeepMind, if it's taught the basic rules, can beat anyone in chess in 4 hours, and anyone in Go, which is the most complicated one, probably in 8 hours. From the other side of it, from a security point of view, I think it was also revealing when DARPA announced from a US military experience that already in the first Iraqi war, the logistics that was based on artificial intelligence saved more money to the US military than the entire investment that the US military had put into the development of AI. So that really shows a fundamental potential also in the security and the military field as well. And what we can expect is a further explosion. I just saw a recent survey which emphasized that up to 94% of business and IT executives in the public service industry anticipate an extensive investment in an AI-related technology. So we're just the beginning of the whole process. And what we can see is that with the rapid development of the real data economy, data is becoming the real value of our economies. It is going to be owned widely and shared widely. It's going to be more powerful, more valuable than gold and oil. So we're in front of a major change. What is impossible, however, to think when we consider the development and the consequences of AI and what it will bring to our societies is how this is going to be making our lives really possible, which is the security aspect. And I believe our previous discussions on cybersecurity are more relevant than ever to be able to base any thinking about AI for our future. It's the only precondition that is a must for all governments is really to provide for the security of this context and of this usage. Of course, there's a number of moral issues that rise with AI. It is a transformational development, but what we can see is that there's a changing attitude also related to AI. Some years ago, most engineers who developed algorithms said, I don't care how it is used, it's not my business. Increasingly, what we can see is that they are taking responsibility and they want to know how their algorithms are used. The security and technical aspects of AI to provide the potential that it is capable for is, I think, has to be number one in our discussions, and it definitely has to be in the focus of our governmental discussions. On one hand, what we can see is that governments, of course, can profit from using AI for their enhanced services. On the other hand, governments and organizations are going to be increasingly responsible to developing an international global set of norms and standards, just by the definition of harm, for instance, what is harm covered by, but through the setting up of benchmarks and security concepts for AI and for the cyber security potential to be developed. So I think what we can see is that we were expecting to see two major groups of people, the enthusiasts for AI and the security concerns. I have to tell you, this is not the way it has developed. Even physicists like Stephen Hawking, in one of his last pieces, underlined the dangers and the threats lying in the potential of development of AI without the security that is needed.
Nagyon szépen köszönöm, thank you very much. Köszönjük szépen, nagykövet asszony.
Thank you.
És szeretném megkérni Artur Bobovnickit, hogy ossza meg a gondolatait ebben a témában. Öné a szó.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests of this conference, it's a pleasure and honor being here and sharing with you some thoughts on artificial intelligence with you. We four countries are at a crucial junction point. The growth in our countries is still primarily coming from the heavy labor-intense industries, for example, automotive production. We are still lagging behind the most innovative countries, regions, nations in Europe and in the world, whether it is Switzerland or Nordic countries, or it is South Korea, Israel, or Japan. At the same time, the whole world is facing many other challenges, not only innovation, competitiveness. There are challenges, the culture clash. We have been discussing these things yesterday: climate change, terrorism, digitalization. So we are not maybe on the top of in the top countries in many of the rankings, but we still have a strong opinion on various issues, and as it was possible to see these 2 days. Moreover, Slovakia and Czech Republic are two countries that coined the word robot. It's not because at that time it was Czechoslovakia, but my explanation is rather a little bit different. It's because the Czech playwright Karel Čapek, being on the summer holidays in Slovak spa Trenčanské Teplice, he was listening to Slovak language and he found out that there is a word robota. Robota stands for work. He just deleted the last word from the robota and he invented robot. And he introduced this in his play RUR in 1921. So it's nearly 100 years already passed since this rather dark and, well, difficult to see the vision of this play. This play is 100 years old and is creating, say, it is a basis for another big things, like a movie which probably everybody knows, I, Robot. It's very similar to RUR. But since that time, the science fiction is silently becoming a science fact. We have to change our mindset. because our mindset is based on the fact that human being is evolving linearly, in linear trajectory. But the technology is evolving in exponential trajectory. Technology is evolving in this exponential trajectory, and fortunately, we are still at the beginning of this rapid growth phase. That growth phase is characterized by the words like hyperconnectivity, big data, smart everything, Internet of Things, etc., 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 ending with singularity, which is the point where machine will be on the par with man. Just few numbers PwC has launched a few days ago. In 2017, investment into the solution based on AI exceeded $11 billion. And that AI will contribute to the world GDP growth by 2030 by 26%. When looking at AI from the perspective of economics, AI can really bring a very considerable saving of the cost. But at the same time, AI should bring very considerable improvement of the quality of life. Recent 2 issues of Harvard Business Review has been featuring AI questions. The last one, May-June issue, has been named AI Assistants Will Transform How Companies and Customers Will Connect. And allow me to share a few key messages from this. Consumers will shift their alliance from trusted brands to a trusted AI assistants. Customer acquisition will become even more of science focused on a single channel, the AI platform. And the AI platform are the platforms like Facebook, Google, Amazon. Moreover, nowadays it seems that everywhere we experience AI. At home, in our phones. Before we know AI technology will be in just about every product and service we buy and use. As we discussed with our panelists yesterday morning, maybe it will be in the tie of Robert is wearing, woven kind of intelligent equipment, and it will be tracked, or he will be tracked. So what's going wrongly possibly with AI? I will just shout out a few words. Exponential surveillance, increased human de-skilling, building relationship with screens and machines instead of with people. Manipulation on unimaginable scale is feasible and increasingly likely. Believe me, I am not against the AI, I am not against the technology. I am just pointing some things. We can structure it in different way. So the number 1 ethical topics is social control. The number 2 is human technology boundaries. Who is responsible for data? Who owns digital copy, etc., etc. The number 3 topic is long-term impact on the people. We are already starving with missing real nature. But what if we will be starving from the real connection between the people? And the final one is we are heading towards unknown territory. Humanity, for sure, will change much more in the next 20 years than in previous 300 years. Human and technology are increasingly already today overlapping, intersecting, or even converging. Čapek's vision will soon, and maybe it's already there, coming true. And man-machine confluence will enable amazing wins for humanity, but at the same time, simultaneously can and could and will threaten it. Let me finalize, because my time is over. The final thing. The challenge in front of us is imminent. It could happen that 20 years from now, we will be reminding the waves on the Adriatic Sea, some sunny August day, a as a, well, not today we see it as a big sea, a big wave, but we will see it on a totally different perspective, because if AI will go in unmanaged, uncontrolled way, then we can expect a wave which will be tsunami. And that tsunami will be much more dangerous than we can even imagine. So let's embrace AI, let's embrace technology, but let's think forward, let's think about consequences.
Köszönjük szépen Artur Bobovnický szavait, és végül, de nem utolsó sorban halljuk Avraham Cohen gondolatait erről a témáról.
Yeah. Okay, I want to start in different way. You know, 150 years ago, human being have 5 pieces of data. He had a name, a house, maybe somebody know how much he earned because he wanted to take tax, and he have 4, 5, nobody cared no much. Take it to yesterday, we have 50 pieces. We have name, ID, digital ID, we have all sorts of Facebook, Instagram. Count it, you got 50 at least. Maybe tomorrow we won't have 50, we'll have 100. But this is not the big jump, and I think that the big jump is ahead of us. The big jump will be when one person will provide 50 million pieces of data per day. And it will happen only one issue. We never, in all of our technology in the last year, we didn't really use one dimension, the visual dimension. We do video analytics, but video analytics doesn't look at the picture. It digs inside the picture. But for us to look around and see everything, it's a God issue. So everybody wants to see everything. No machine now can analyze all the visible data, real time, online, all the time. If you look now on visible CCTVs, 95% of them going to the waste. We use it only backwards if you want to investigate. So I think that the big jump ahead of us is when we add to our digital life the visual dimension that is not really there, and it will come, but we cannot do it. I don't know any machine that can analyze all this data. So this will get us back to the artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence, if you look at on the low level, we want to use it to analyze a lot of data very fast, very quick, with no man inside. And it will become like an enabler, as my colleague said before, but is a big enabler because everyone wants to see all the time. The other issue about artificial intelligence, if we want now to look at our system, it doesn't matter if it's electronic system, digital system, or a national state system, law system. If we can look at the new age, we prefer to do startup. Take everything away and start it again, because this is the only way. But there is a small problem. We want to do a startup, but without restart, because we cannot do a restart. In our computer, if we have a problem, we push restart and start again. We cannot restart systems. So we are looking for a way to do restart to everything, but we want somebody else to do it, and this is why artificial intelligence is coming. If you look at the evaluation of artificial intelligence, you know that we start with organize and manage data, programming, programs, BI, stuff like this. We go to deep learning. Nowadays, deep learning very high, but deep learning only utilize machine learning. It doesn't do something smart. It's doing a lot, but it's not really smart. And I think that the next form that we have, we call it autonomous artificial intelligence. We don't want the system to decide for us, but we want it to unsupervised learn, to self-organize the data. Nobody can organize all this data. We want some machine that will be power enough so it can self-organize the data, deal all this kind, and do it for itself. This is artificial intelligence, and for my opinion, this is the only enabler once to take all the visual data and make it a digital data, because it's not a digital data. Even we call the digital camera, it's not a digital data that you can use and analyze. And in the other ways, we need the jumps. So for first, I think that we have to think different. We cannot think anymore about the details. You have to look different on details. I'll take it to chemistry. We cannot look at the atoms and the electrons. It doesn't matter how they organize. We have to look at the whole molecules. And we have to self-build the molecules. We don't build, the molecules are building by themselves. You can use whatever you want, but the molecules are standing by nature. And artificial intelligence have to be in this way. I cannot finish without saying one thing about security. Two things I want to say. One, before security, I think that in this point, a lot of our system will have to handle laws and rules and signs to organize the area. If we have drones flying, we cannot control them. We cannot manage them. So what we do, we set 300 feet. This is different air, this is lower air, and we separate it. I think that government will separate also autonomous vehicles, like trains. We don't want the system to decide about life of people. We don't want them to decide if it's a kid or old lady and run it away. So we separate it. And this is the government system issue. One thing about security. The main problem in this era, is that we never use security on privates, on private. When you look ahead, we defend country, we defend armies, we defend everything. We never defend one people. And the issue now is not security, it's privacy. And privacy is new name of security, because we want to secure your privacy. Leave alone terror and all the other stuff. Everybody now is talking about security in the matter of privacy. And this is a whole different system that we have to shape and design from start.
Ezredes úr, nagyon szépen köszönjük a hozzászólását, és megragadnám a lehetőséget, hogy az ön által elmondott utolsó szavakhoz kapcsolódjak szinte azonnal, és az egyik legfontosabb aspektusára kérdezzek rá ennek a témának. Lehetséges-e a mesterséges intelligenciával kapcsolatos kockázatok globális szabályozása? Vannak-e erre utaló kísérletek, erre irányuló kísérletek? És van-e esetleg ebben különleges szerepe akár az európai együttműködésnek, vagy a V4-es együttműködésnek, illetve ebben a tágabb közegünknek, az amerikai kontinenssel közös transatlanti együttműködésnek. Az megszólalás eredeti sorrendjében szeretném feltenni a kérdésemet, tehát Robert Siudakot kérdezem először.
Thank you very much for the question itself. In a way, we know that the challenge is global, but the question is how to regulate this. And we have a historical example of also global challenge which was regulated. If you go back to 90s, you have this whole issue regarding the ethics of the genetic modification of the DNA, for example. And at that time, you had the whole set of meetings with research community as well as public policy debate on the regulation of the research in this specific part of the research itself. And more or less, we can already say that just for this time, for this, so to say, 20-something years, it was successful in a way. We've been able to have research and industrial standards on the use of this technologies, this research, this field of research. The question is whether And of course, it was also big market and big opportunity when it comes to commercial use. The same cases with AI. Of course, we already see that many international players have their own strategies when it comes to AI. European Union this year, from the very beginning, from the April then March, started producing new documents regarding their position and how they should be active in this public sphere and this technology. I think in the next year we will see more and more cooperation between states when it comes to application of it. I mean, I hope so in the end, because the technology don't know borders. Only the market know borders. And we discussed it before that the GDPR is a good example. You have the regulation made by one of the biggest markets, which means European Common Market, which is influencing the technological and kind of commercial side of the activities of the global players. You have the example of Facebook. First, they mentioned they will be just applying GDPR to European clients, but in the end, because of the social problems and so on, they're ending up applying it to everyone global. So in this case, even the regulations crafted by one player, which has huge influence, which is huge leverage, you may say, it has to be always leverage regulation, might somehow influence the global debate.
Thank you. Anna Piperal, köszönöm.
Well, I believe as global as this debate can be, and as soon as some draft legislation would be in place, the better, because when we can see with past history or GDPR even, this legislation, in my point of view, is already so much, it's so late because of too many debates, and there are definitely a lot of risks in using artificial intelligence, but we cannot fight them on a country level, the same like in cybersecurity, because we have to agree on some global strategy about this, the ethics of it and the ways how to do it. But we just must start somewhere without procrastinating and too much debate, because otherwise we will be just late and the harm will be done. Well, looking at the same Facebook case, Facebook was there and the data regulation is, I'm sorry, like 10 years almost late. We don't know today all the risks that come with artificial intelligence, but we have to start somewhere. So let's act quickly in terms of what we know today and what are the possible implications. And we agreed on a common platform between countries, maybe starting on European Union level, but then on global level as well. And this is how we get going.
Nagykövet asszony, mit gondolnak erről Amerikában? Mit gondolnak erről Amerikában magyar szemmel?
Well, as much as I think it would be obvious and logical to look for a global solution, and it's absolutely clear that no state on its own can handle the cybersecurity threats that are coming, and no state on its own can handle all the pressures that are coming from the new technology called AI, our experience is very weak in this regard. And the fact is that even in cybersecurity, we have not managed to get to any much really closer to a global regulation of what we really need to do in cybersecurity or in the threats that we have seen unfolding on a daily basis. I have seen Lithuania's national cybersecurity report that just came out 2 months ago, 1 month ago. It's an amazing pressure that the Lithuanian government is detecting. There's over 55,000 attacks against governmental organizations and cyber addresses that they are investigating. It would be logical. What we have seen is a very good cooperation on the Visegrad level, for instance, of linking the various sectors together, because if there is a cyber attack against the financial sector in one of the countries, it's quite likely that a similar attack will be launched against the same financial sector in a neighboring country in the region or in Europe. So it would make a lot of sense. But since 2001, when the Budapest cybersecurity strategy or agreement was signed as an international document, there is not really a very clear move forward. We have 67 states that have published their national cybersecurity strategies, which is a very important first step. It doesn't mean that the rest of the world is following suit, and the problem is that the approach to this, and going back to what you say, the individual and the freedom of the individual and the cyberspace, the approach to this is impeding it. We have seen just recently the Chinese cybersecurity law coming out, which is, you know, a very interesting case in point. Are we going to get closer? The cybersecurity law of China stipulates, for instance, that all the organizations, businesses have to keep data available for the request of the government, which on one hand, of course, is quite unimaginable in a European or a transatlantic or a Western culture. On the other hand, they claim it's increasing security. Should anybody lose their data, they would still have it through the government. So I think there's a lot of very different views on this, and it's going to be very difficult. Some basics will have to be definitely established because the threat and the pressure and the loss of finances and security is very tangible. So I think we have to get there, but the way from here to there, it's a big question mark.
Rocky road. Köszönöm szépen. Artur Bobovnický.
Okay, I think it's not a question if it could be, or but it must be. The first. The second, it's still not agenda of the leaders of the countries. Just a few days ago, I was in Astana on Economic Forum, which is a huge event. The first day, 6,500 people attended. The people like François Hollande, Sultan Nazarbayev, Nursultan Nazarbayev, two Nobel Prize winners, Steve Wozniak. And believe me, the topic on their agenda is still, well, I've said in brackets, only climate change. They are not discussing, or they are not even thinking probably about problem of cybersecurity on the long-term view with all this needed regulation. So I think we have, as similarly to the climate change, there has been really strong push from the bottom up. And then we managed to make a big climate summit in Paris. Similarly, we have to create the need for the much more profound understanding of the future consequences of unmanaged artificial intelligence introduction. And then I'm sure there will be the steps towards global, regional, but I hope for the global rules and regulations.
Yeah, I want to take this discussion other place. Let's start with the artificial intelligence. I don't think you can put regulation on this, never, because nobody really know. It's like taking an electron that's running out of the atom and try to find where it is. If you ask some scientists or physicists, they say, it doesn't matter for me. I know it's there, but I know how it works. I don't know to know exactly where it is. This is the same with artificial intelligence. You cannot monitor how it works. If you understand how it works, you cannot monitor. You can monitor maybe the utilities. You can regulate data. You should regulate data, even if it's afterward. But I don't think that you can do regulation and laws or artificial intelligence because it's not a technology like the other one. It's different way, and you cannot control it. This is one thing. A little bit about cybersecurity. I think that we are trying I see a lot of people trying to solve cybersecurity old-fashioned way. They have guns, we will buy better guns. They have tanks, we will buy better tanks. They will build walls. I can say to you that you can build a system with $200 million protective, and I find some bored student with $30 would get change, and he'll break your system like this. And he's sitting with McDonald's and Coke in his laptop with something. Well, you don't know even where he is. You cannot deal cybersecurity like you are dealing defense. Because in defense, when you are buying tank, you're using it for 40 years. In cybersecurity, you are buying a tool, you can use it between 2 minutes to 2 years, but somebody in the way can kill it. You are buying millions a system, and you read in the paper before you even get the system that somebody cracked it. So it's not dealing like this. I think that you have to look at the whole system, and you have to do always assessment, and it's all about risk assessment. You cannot defend everything, you cannot monitor everything. There is stuff that you'll have to let go and know that somebody maybe can take it. You have to find only what is the most essential stuff. You cannot protect everything, and you have to change so fast. So the system that we are building are not changeable. So you have to redesign most of the system.
Robert?
Yeah, if I may add some regarding the AI first question. I believe that indeed you are not able to regulate the technology itself, and it's not the case. The case is to regulate the application of the technology into the economy, society, into the system that you will be using daily. So you mentioned the separation of the systems, and that's one of the examples. Like going back even to a car, you're not kind of regulating the way how you can produce a car, but you're regulating the way how people can use a car and how you can, what kind of cars you can sell. For example, this emission CO, this kind of speed you can drive normally on in the public sphere, and so on. And this is kind of a regulation, and it's just the beginning. Of course, there are, speaking about the system, we need to prepare our system, not only kind of regulatory, but also the whole legal system to this technology. It's not about like putting this on the technology, it's about putting the system to use this technology. So for example, if you think about any kind of autonomous system, either vehicle, let's stay with the autonomous car or vehicle. Of course, someone will be the owner of the car, someone will be the owner of the system who will be making the decision. And therefore, you need a legal entity, like legal person, and who will be the owner of it, who will pay for the insurance for it, and who will be, in the end, like responsible for getting this money from the insurance if something will happen.
This is very good for old system. In new system, sorry for interrupt, in the new system, everybody wants us to think that GDPR is very heavy and work. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't give a damn on this because he can do it like this. It's a small bump. He take 20,000 programmers, he do small changes, and he go on. If he want to go past this, he will go past it. You are not facing not smart issues. This company that you are facing, the commercial company, changing every minute. They are changing very fast. Your system, the country system, is changing very slow, but they are changing so fast you don't even know how fast it is.
Artur Bobovnický, mintha egy fejét rázta volna.
Maybe it will be perceived as a very, how to say, enthusiastic or naive. But I think those things which we heard right now from Robert and Avraham are coming in my mind to the solution or conclusion, not solution, conclusion. We have to start with our kids. Change education. Currently, we educate philosophers in philosophical aspects and ethical aspects. We educate technologists on purely technological issues, but we are facing a situation when technology is facing very difficult ethical questions. So it's probably time to merge and to allow technologists to be educated in philosophical or ethical issues. Otherwise, we will be facing in few years the real problems. There will be geeks without any empathy and philosophers without no understanding anything in the technology. And we have to find the solution of this, or the merge of these two topics to solve the problems we are facing, or we see.
És ha már a felelősségnél tartunk, a vezető előadásban Dajs Tamás miniszterelnöki biztos elmondta azt azt gondolom, hogy nagyon könnyű egyetérteni azzal az igazsággal, amit elmondott, hogy a technológia eszköz, a cél pedig mindig valahogy maga az ember jóléte, az ember boldogulása, az ember szabadsága. A kérdésem az lenne, hogy az egyik ilyen nagyon fontos aspektus, amit megemlítettünk, az az, hogy a mesterséges intelligencia, illetve az ehhez hasonló digitális technológiák nagyon sok olyan feladatot át tudnak venni gyakorlatilag az emberi munkaerőpiactól, amely eddig nem volt elképzelhető. Az a kérdés, hogy ennek az etikai aspektusa, hogyan készülhetünk fel arra, önök szerint, hogy ezek a munkahelyek megszűnnek, és az embereknek pedig nem lesz alapvetően, nem lesz azonnal lehetőségük az átállásra. Ki mit tart ebben a kérdésben praktikusnak, realistának, megvalósíthatónak? Bárki, akinek gondolata van. Tessék!
For instance, the first thing, you know, I implemented the C4I system 30 years in the army. Whenever everybody said that technology bring more efficiency, after it bring more men and more manpower. I never saw a system in the end that didn't bring more different kind of issues, different kind of workers. They are not this worker, but most of technology bring a lot of work with it, a lot of work, different work. So I never see that we stop have work and people cannot work. They will evolve and change. And I give an example about how people change according to what you said about education. You have a smartphone. If I take this smartphone 30 years ago to DARPA, it was supercomputer.
Yeah.
If I want to educate you to learn it, I'll get you to 2 years course. But now you buy it in the store, your 3-year child buy that, nobody say how to use it, but you know exactly how to use it. What, it's a magic? It's a supercomputer. Our age taught this in schools for days and hours. The kids doesn't even need to learn this stuff. In the other stuff, I can watch my kid see a film on YouTube, how to operate in Russian. He doesn't understand a word in Russian. But if you ask him, he said, yeah, I understand everything. Because they are different, and the education they are getting are very different. The problem is that we, the old guy, trying, they are young, but we are old. The old guy trying to make rules, regulation about stuff that maybe we don't understand good enough.
Igen, de azért a szabályozásnak nyilván van egy olyan nagyon fontos aspektusa, hogy nem tudunk mindent korlátozni, nem tudunk mindent valós időben megakadályozni, de a felelősség kérdését azért muszáj valahogyan megállapítanunk. És ezzel tovább is adom a szót Robert Siudaknak, valamilyen kommentje lett volna az előzőekhez.
Yeah, especially I will agree that yes, indeed, one of the sectors that will be the most influenced by the AI itself, like technology itself, will be the labor market. But most of the research already shows that it will be for better, which means we will have more jobs, but the jobs we don't even think about it now. So going back in history, you know, there are from 1960 till now, there are research in every state of the United States. What is the most common job? In 1965, in 26, if I remember correctly, states, it was office manager, which means it was someone who was typing, sending letters, doing everything for everyone in the office. You know, now your smartphone is doing the same issue, and now the most common in 23 states is a truck driver. Of course, we know that the autonomous trucks are coming ahead, but of course there will be, in 20 years, there will be another one job which will be the most common one. And when you think about AI, there are like a lot of new technology, a lot of new jobs that you will have to face, like architect of the human-machine relations. Like we already have user experience design in the normal digital.
For sure you will have a lot of regulation people.
And that's just the beginning. In fact, if you think about, we spoke about the issue that how deep you have to be able to, in fact, investigate how the AI or the algorithms were taking the decision. And this is the also brand new labor market for something that people used to call digital investigator. The people who will be hired to see how certain decisions in automated processes happened. Why? Maybe is there any need for a change in the structure of the machine, and so on and so on. So we have many new opportunities. We have many new opportunities in ahead of us, and I believe, yeah, it's not only taking jobs, it's also creating it.
Nagykövet asszony?
Yes, if I may join into this one, definitely. I think a lot of the jobs that are monotonous and handling massive data that would take too much labor force can be solved through AI, and that can create new jobs and new possibilities, more on the creative side, more which is probably more fulfilling for many of the individuals. But I think the real, and that has happened before and that will happen in the future as well, but I think the real challenge is what we have been discussing a little bit, is that how to combine our need and focus of our countries in the world to increase welfare and national economic goals in all of our countries, while at the same time keeping the security, the cybersecurity and the data protection and the security element of the economy to function. And I think so far, unfortunately, the debate was on two parallel tracks. There were the economists who were talking about, the need for development and how that can go forward, and there were the cybersecurity people who were focusing on, or security people, on the security element. I think we have gotten to a point where all the nations who want to plan for a solid future will have to be able to align their national economic vision with their national security priorities. They have to be together, and the cybersecurity prize has to be converted into into fulfilling or to implementing the national economic goals on one hand. On the other hand, I think, and that's where governments come in, although it's very clear that the debate on security and the security element is impacting on the market and impacting on the cost of labor and a lot of other elements that we have to sort of think through. I remember just 5-6 years ago, we spent days in conferences on trying to convince the private sector actors to cooperate with governmental actors to work together on increasing cybersecurity and to develop common strategies and common thinking. And at that time, of course, the private sector was adamantly saying, no, this is our data, we're going to cover for this, and that's our priority. Now I think the cooperation between the private sector and the public sector in establishing a cybersecurity infrastructure for the whole of the functioning of the economy is a lot more logical. So I think there's a lot of rationale that is coming in that is forcing us to cooperate.
Anna Piperal jelentkezett szólásra.
I just wanted to add in terms of the labor market, when we see at the history of techno-economic paradigms, we can see definitely that there is only the increase of the workspaces with any revolution that we have seen so far, whether it's car revolution or the engine. So it's the government's prerogative, and actually something they really should do is to make sure we have the skilled people who understand how it all works. And for example, our government is teaching kids robotics and programming since they are 7, so in the first grade. Of course, it's a game for them, but we can see that this is the kind of people we want to run the country later on. And sometimes schools today are teaching the wrong things. They are not teaching financial education, they are not teaching computers or cybersecurity and cyber hygiene. They're not teaching anything that would be relevant, because what we actually have to teach them is the problem solving, is the creative thinking, is the programming and understanding how it all works together. And then we shouldn't be afraid of any change or dramatic changes in the labor, because jobs will be dramatically different. But we have seen it for so many centuries, and it's all good, because on the whole, there will be car incidents still, but we are driving cars. And from the ethical perspective, for me, it's always a question of culture and exploring the risks of artificial intelligence in different countries. We can see that the culture can impact a lot, not only awareness, but also the inner beliefs. And there are countries where the trust towards the government and whatever they're doing is really low, and the cooperation willingness is very low, and there are Scandinavian countries, for example, where government is our friend, and whatever they're suggesting, it will be embraced, and there's going to be a partnership and work. And in terms of AI, for example, Japan is striking for me as really embracing the new technologies. They're, I don't know, making marriages using VR. They're having computer robots helping the elderly because they put a soul into the machine. So their acceptance of this is drastically different. So I think there's always something to learn, and if we're not ready ourselves, and countries is not at the level to suggest their own ideas on how to regulate this field or how to do it not over-regulated. I also agree on the cause should be like, what are the causes, how we can use artificial intelligence, and this should be in place. Then maybe we should look at the ones who practices it and who has more experience and who has more acceptance, and then just follow the lead, at least in the beginning.
Köszönöm szépen, megadnám a szót Avraham Cohen ezredesnek, és egyben jelzem is, hogy szeretném megkérni a panel résztvevőit, hogy lassan egy bővített mondaton gondolkozzanak, amellyel felvérteznék esetleg a közönséget a mesterséges intelligenciával kapcsolatos kihívásokra, mint egy zárszóképpen. Ezredes úr, öné a szó.
Yeah, I want to go back to your minister that talked in the start of this yesterday. I accept for my kids' school. I don't want them to teach my kids cyber, not cybersecurity, no digital, nothing. I want them to teach them culture, values, historic stuff, because I know for sure, I train all IDF programmers. I can take anybody if we have the right structure and make him technologists in year, 2 years, it doesn't matter. I don't want my guys, my young kids to be robotics or learn robotics, learn to be like a robot, or programs or something like this in this age. Because there is something that we never can give our kids in education, only when they are small. And it's values and stuff like this. And the school has to be and go this way. Technology will come after.
Köszönjük szépen. Artur Bobovnický, záró gondolatai.
I would build on the Avraham words. I think the technology is not good or bad. Technology is as good as we are. So if we have and we share visions, values, then even technology, which can be seen as a problematic or dangerous, could be utilized well for the humankind.
Köszönjük szépen. Nagykövet asszony.
That's a tough one because there is a lot that I think will define our next 2 decades that we are discussing now. But I think this is why it was such a very wonderful event, because what we have been dealing with is to focus on our values and on the core principles that really constitute our societies and how important they are, which reminds me that thought of a philosopher who was saying that life can only be understood backwards, meaning focusing on values and the history and the traditions that we have, but it must be lived forwards. And I think that's our challenge. That's what we're here for, to understand our lives and the values that we have inherited and go forward.
Köszönjük szépen. Anna Piperal.
Well, maybe I can consider it a bit naive and in a certain point of view, but let's not forget that we are pioneers. You know, when the humankind was going to space, the probability of making it and actually getting there was around 10% at best. But still, there are people who are willing to try it out, and this made a great jump in the history of humanity. So artificial intelligence will definitely be as big change for us as going to space. And we have to embrace the fears and work together in order to make it happen, and just believe.
Robert Siudak, mit tenne hozzá ehhez még?
I think I will wrap up with the same note as our 2 first speakers, because I just want to mention that there is no physics law regarding the evolution of the technology. As I mentioned, in the end, technology is what we as humans make of it. And that's why, but on the other side, we humans already want to create, generate, have new technologies, have new market, products, services. In taking into account those two opposite, I would say, parts, the question is not will, would, could, should AI be the future of us? It's more like a what kind of future or how we will use this technology for our future. And I think this agentness, this actorness of us as people who are developing, regulating, not too much, using this technology is good to bear in mind.
Köszönöm szépen. Hölgyeim és uraim, azt gondolom, hogy ez a beszélgetés visszaigazolta, amiről a legeslegelején beszéltünk, mégpedig azt, hogy bár a mesterséges intelligencia mégiscsak egy technikai, technológiai kérdés, amit még igazából csak most kezdünk kapizsgálni, azt gondolom. Ennek ellenére egy szakértőkkel folytatott egyórás beszélgetés végén is mindig ugyanoda kanyarodunk vissza. Emberek vagyunk, technológiát alkotunk, milyen jövőt képzelünk el magunk számára, mik az értékeink, mit szeretnénk a gyermekeinkre hagyni. És azt gondolom, hogy ez remélem önöket is, de engem mindenképpen reménnyel tölt el a jövőre nézve, hogy ilyen látásmóddal azért képesek leszünk felvértezni magunkat arra, hogy ezekkel a kihívásokkal megküzdjünk, a lehetőségeket pedig megragadjuk. Kérem, segítsenek abban, hogy megköszönjem a mai panelbeszélgetés résztvevőinek a tartalmas gondolatokat és a részvételt, Robert Siudaknak, Anna Piperalnak, Szemerkényi Réka nagykövet asszonynak, Artur Bobovnický úrnak, és Avraham Cohen ezredesnek. Köszönöm szépen, és join me in the... Köszönjük szépen!